And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome in here to RBLR Sports. You are tuned into RBLR Bucs. Musab here with you. First and foremost, hope you're all safe and sound from that hurricane. Quite a last week we had, huh? Well, little special edition tonight, of course, since we weren't with you for like 2 weeks now. And a lot of things to discuss, of course. Week 4 down in the books. Duo tonight, the usual duo, the iconic duo. Carter, how we doing, man?
Doing well, living lavish. Hope everyone's doing okay after that hurricane last weekend, especially my peeps in Lee County and Fort Myers. Certainly sending good vibes y'all's way. Definitely a tough situation. Hope y'all are doing all right, staying safe, and maybe this will be a good distraction for y'all from a tough situation. But other than that, doing well. Excited to talk some Bucs with y'all.
Hell yeah, man. I love it. I love it. And Santiago, what's going on, man? How we doing?
I'm doing good, Musab. How's everyone doing out there? RBLR Nation, Bucks Nation. We came out of this difficult week. Hopefully, yes, it's very difficult. I feel for everybody that's in Fort Myers and in Lee County, all around that area, Bonita Springs, Naples, even Orlando area. That had been like flooded and stuff, and Daytona Beach and stuff. So, all those areas that were affected, my prayers are with you. And, I know, you'll, hopefully you can get power back or, get back on your feet. But yeah, this is going to be a distraction for you guys. I know it. And, we're here to talk some Bucs football, bring some joy to you guys, and, go Bucs. Let's go RBLR.
Amen to that, Santiago. Amen. Listeners, we always appreciate you. We really do hope that all y'all are doing fine. And as Santiago said, let this be more of a distraction. Let this be another opportunity to get excited for some Tampa Bay football. And quick reminder, if you could, show us some love and hit that like and subscribe button, however you're listening to this. Gentlemen, let's just get right into it just because, we got to recap 2 games now. First one, Green Bay versus Tampa. What an interesting ending. Honestly, just what a amazing 2 minutes, last 2 minutes. But overall thoughts, Carter, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, it was really a tight game all the way up until the end. Not really much you can take from it offensively. They were missing, obviously, so many people that it's tough to really evaluate that performance. Obviously, you'd like to score more than 1 touchdown, but, you kind of take what you can get when Russell Gage is your top option. All due respect to Russell Gage, if he's the only guy that you can really depend on, you're probably not going to have much success. That's not a slight to Russell Gage. That's just the reality of the NFL, especially against a really elite defense like the Packers. But yeah, the defense played really well. They looked a little rough in the first half, but obviously they came back and shut them out in the second half. Did a really tremendous job of making adjustments at halftime with Todd Bowles as the coach. You're always going to see that, or at least most of the time see that. So yeah, just not really much you can take. Obviously a disappointing ending with the Hainsey screw up or whoever it was, the screw up on the delay game on the 2-point conversion. But yeah, overall, a fun game, but obviously a disappointing one, but not much to take for it. Santiago, how'd you feel about this Bucs-Packers game?
Yeah, gentlemen, it's tough when it's a loss, any loss is very tough, of course, and specifically it's our home opener, like everybody's pumped after 2 road wins and, we were 2-0. So, and then, it's Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, it's, the battle of the quarterbacks and, they came in and they won. That's pretty much what they did. And, we have to get our act together and, and get back on a winning streak pretty much. So it's been kind of tough, with everything. But let's move forward. Let's reorganize, gentlemen, and let's go. Let's go win our next games.
Right on. Guys, I mean, just kind of thinking about what we're talking about right now. And Carter, I know you just mentioned, there was only so much of a threatening kind of core of wide receivers we really had. I mean, Russell Gage was our kind of star of that game, of course. And I guess, is this something you kind of expected to kind of happen? Knowing that we had these, injuries, and even with Mike Evans being suspended. We had a limited amount of weapons, but then again, I mean, so did Green Bay, kind of, now that I think about it. But guys, is this how you kind of were expecting it to be? It was kind of just going to be like a close dogfight, because um, I don't know how much of it really is on the receivers more than anything. It's the defense that stood out on both teams, but maybe you think differently.
No, that's a really great point, Musab. Both teams are having really great defensive teams, just talent wise. You look at the rosters that both present, and there's really talent all over the roster at the secondary, linebacking position, and the front seven. Just elite players all over the board. So, yeah, while the receivers certainly weren't exactly up to snuff, I mean, when Romeo Doubs and Russell Gage are the two leading receivers of the game, it's probably not a great offensive battle. So yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of the defense is playing well and the receivers maybe not doing so well. But yeah, that's just how it is. I was kind of expecting it going into it because, like I said, both defenses are so good. But yeah, obviously it's a bummer to lose any game, but especially the home opener, like Santiago mentioned. But yeah, I think the bigger disappointment from this game was that the Bucs weren't able to run the ball, and we'll get into the Chiefs game and how they weren't able to run the ball. But yeah, that's a disappointing development. But how about you, Santiago? How would you feel about the receiving core and the defenses, just matchup kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, when you have, and we were talking about Aaron Jones as a running back, they were, he didn't score a touchdown in that game, but he had 12 carries for 36 yards. AJ Dillon, he was also running the ball on us as well. 12 carries, also 32 yards. It's every time I was seeing the game, and it's like when we were defending. I mean, they were just going down the Green Bay was going down the field. I mean, it was very frustrating. Like, I know we have a lot of injuries and stuff, like, but it's yeah, and it was a low. So, we only lost by 2 points, 14-12, but still, like, we should, we have a lot of talent on this team, and Tom Brady came back. We have a lot of talent that I'm still confident that we'll have a winning season, to be honest with you. But, it's very rough. It's very, very, you gentlemen are saying the exact same thing. How can we score one touchdown? Carter just said that we can't score just one touchdown expecting to win games. Like, we have to do a better job.
Right. And I mean, even with that, Um, I mean, as much as the defense has really showed out, I do want to say, I mean, there were just some things that just really weren't working well for us, especially in the beginning. Santiago, you were mentioning just right now that it's like, we started out fine. Unfortunately, we weren't able to kind of execute it to a touchdown. We snagged the field goal, but they came out even harder and kept on grinding out the yards, and I kind of have to give it to Aaron Rodgers and the offense overall. They did play it smart with some of those aggressive blitzes we had, and we kept on letting it happen over and over again. But um, guys, did you see any kind of good things on our end? I mean, surely it was a really rough first half. Second half, even, it was just a battle of the defenses. I think that was obvious that the defenses on both teams were just absolutely phenomenal. But uh, is there anything that kind of stood out to you that maybe you said, okay, at least this was nice seeing, being that it's week 3, it's the Packers. We're going against Rodgers and company. So this was definitely a bigger game than the Saints and Cowboys.
Yeah, I think a good thing was to see the second half defense Like we've mentioned, the defenses really played well on both sides, but the Bucs really turned it up a notch in that second half. They forced a turnover, which is always huge, especially for the Bucs, because they're going to let up some yardage in the passing game as they showed in the first half. Especially like I mentioned before, Romeo Dobbs had himself quite a game. Racked up a touchdown. Um, yeah, it was really just the second half defense. At the end, that little 2 minute 2 minute offense. That was really nice to see. But, for the most part, that's Tom Brady. He's going to do that. He's going to pull those kind of tricks out. But other than that, yeah, it was a tough game. The offense really didn't show anything of note. At least, I mean, I guess they didn't really turn the ball over as much. They had those 2 fumbles, which was tough. But yeah, I don't know. Not a lot. Not a lot of positives from this game.
What about you, Santiago? Any positives?
Well, positives to be honest with you, and it's Tom Brady is the GOAT, but honestly, our MVP in putting up points, at least in this part of our season, is Ryan Suckup. His foot has been keeping us, specifically in that game. Like in versus Green Bay, like we were close, man. We were, I guess, just from the score line, what I mean? We were close to, we could have won that game, but, he was 100% with 2 field goals, what I mean? He had 2 field goals, put him straight up through the upright. And then, Russell Gage with that 1 touchdown, you know what I mean? Like, we were only able to get, I'm sorry, 12 points in that game. Um, and, Aaron Rodgers, he scored 2 touchdowns, man. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and you know, our positive right now is our special teams. To be honest with you, gentlemen, what do you think?
You think
Yourself?
so, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, for me, the only good thing that really I got out of was really nice to see, of course, the final 2 minutes with Brady and the rest of the offense going down to get that touchdown in, of course. But the only other positive thing I really got out of it was just again our defense, just some kind of momentum changers, especially that fumble recovery. Right when the Green Bay Packers are about to get another touchdown, get it out from Aaron Jones, big stop by the Bucs. Beautiful, beautiful hit by Vita Vea and a nice pickup by Logan Ryan, who also came through with a nice interception as well. So the only thing that kind of irks me is, guys, we really had a lot of chances. I mean, so did they as well. And I mean, this was straight up what I call a dogfight, especially, I don't know, after Green Bay ran a little bit away with it with those 2 touchdowns. That was all they had. They only were able to get like 3 first downs in the second half overall. And I'm sure it was the same kind of for us as well. I mean, it was back and forth, back and forth. Uh, but same thing happened again for us on the kind of bad end was for example that drop by Rashad Perriman. I know what happens, but then again it's also kind of a little downer when you're already down like 14-3. You're going down the field, you're looking good, and then boom, something like that happens. I don't know. We were working with what we had. That's always something to think about, but just too many silly mistakes on, for both teams. I feel like they could say that. Fortunately, they got away with the win, but yeah, it just really wish we kind of got that game though. But guys, what's the kind of biggest thing you got out of this game though? Overall, look, we had a little bit of a slow start, back and forth, back and forth. I feel like that was a kind of general vibe, but what was something from that game you took and you were kind of looking forward in the Chiefs game, or just overall in the future saying, hey, this is a problem, or hey, I like this and I hope we see more of it?
Yeah, I think that the biggest takeaway from this game was just that the defense seems to really be able to take advantage of, well, when they're not playing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I really am looking for the defense to continue to step up and play well, especially with the seemingly revolving door of receiver injuries. I mean, Chris Godwin and Julio Jones can't seem to stay healthy, unfortunately. So the defense is going to kind of have to carry. Especially with, I mean, who knows what's going on with Tom Brady and his, he's got a rotator cuff thing. He's sitting out today for today's practice. He usually sits out at least one practice per week, but, it's a little bit concerning with that. So, yeah, definitely looking for the defense to continue to play really, really well, especially moving forward, that they play some more tougher teams. But really for this next 3-game stretch, they've got, some pretty weak offenses, especially the Falcons coming up this week. So I'm looking for them to continue to be able to just kind of take advantage of the weaker offenses and completely shut down teams. How about you, Santiago? Do you have any big takeaway from this game?
Yeah, specifically from this game, we actually checking out the stats, with, we had, we actually, on the negative, you know, in total yards, Green Bay had more yards than us. Passing yards, we had more yards than them. Rushing yards, they were pounding it down our throat. You know what I mean? Like with just overall, I mean, they were. I don't know. I don't know why, but it's just they. I guess maybe they were more prepared. I mean, we have to not lose the football. That's the main thing we have. We're having issues with fumbles. I know we all want Ryan Jensen. Hopefully he comes back soon, right? But, Hainsey is there, you know what I mean? And I want Hainsey not to have like slippery fingers with the ball. It's not raining. It's been, it's been nice weather here in Florida, and it's just like, you cannot have that. You cannot lose that type of a concentration. We had 2 fumbles in that game versus Green Bay. That it cost us. Green Bay only had 1 fumble that we caught and that we did against them. And also we're having issues with sacks allowed. Like there was a total of 3 sacks allowed in the game versus Green Bay. We can't do that. We have to do a better job in protecting Tom Brady. It has to be that way. We have to do a better job. It's been rough. It's been rough. But positive that I can see as a statistic is that we had more first downs than Green Bay. That we're able to do that. But what happens at the end? We can't convert touchdowns in the red zone. It's very frustrating with that. I'm going more negative right now than positive, but I know Musab was telling me right now about more positive things. It was a close game. It didn't get way too crazy out of hand, pretty much. That's a positive that I can see. We could have still won the game, but we lost.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Santiago, and Carter. I'm gonna have to kind of tag along with you a little bit. That the defense is gonna have to step it up for sure. Just with what we're dealing with on the offensive side, of course. But more than anything, the biggest thing I kind of got out of this game was just the fact that Aaron Rodgers was having so many, like these special connections. For example, the one that really stood out to me was rookie Romeo Dobbs and Aaron Rodgers were kind of hitting it off real good. And it just makes me think, how do we let these things happen so many times? And I'm thinking this is one of the bigger mistakes we seem to make, especially when we're already down, when we're already having issues on our offense. The defense needs to come through, but it is what it is, though. I'm just hoping to see better kind of execution, and I just hope that maybe there's a better chemistry or communication. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do have to say that this is something we got to look into. Just that I don't know. I mean, we're in for a fun treat, I guess, this upcoming week against Atlanta. But we're gonna go against tough teams in the future this season. If we want to win the championship, we're gonna have to go through tough teams in the playoffs. Of course, the best of the best. So just something I'm saying, hey, I really do think that this should be fixed as soon as possible. I'm looking for the D to just fire on all cylinders, and that's really about it for me. Before we transition on and do a little recap, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buccaneers game, listeners, look, it's a certain kind of tough time going on right now, especially this past week with Hurricane. And unfortunately, there were some suffering, and we just want to say that it's time we kind of just help each other out. And we got links in the description for the American Red Cross and Feeding Florida to donate for recovery efforts. It's time to just help each other out. Whatever money you have that you're willing to give, anything helps. Whether it be a dime, $1, $20, 100, it doesn't matter. Every single one of those counts, and we really do hope that you kind of spread some love. All right, gentlemen. Well, another tough week, aka tough loss. This one was definitely the one that I feel like was like, okay, you kind of shrug away the Packers loss. You're like, whatever, battle the defense. Hopefully the offense executes better, / hopefully the defense stays hot. But oof, this one was interesting for sure, especially right off the bat. I mean, Carter, Santiago, overall thoughts. This was kind of round two of, I guess, the Super Bowl between Mahomes and Brady, and it was one for the books, I have to say. It was really nice to see just both of them kind of ball out, but always tough taking a loss. Carter?
Yeah, really just a lot of explosive plays on both offenses, not a lot of defense being played. Um, the the overall thoughts is that it looked like Patrick Mahomes remembered losing the Super Bowl, especially at Ray J versus the Bucs, and he just was pissed. And yeah, he played his butt off. The Chiefs also had a great game plan going in. They really attacked the Bucs defensively. They knew, that the Bucs were gonna be defending the pass, and rightfully so with Patrick Mahomes. But man, they really took advantage of that run defense. I mean, it was disturbing. I mean, because the Bucs are supposed to be the best rush defense in the NFL. Avante David, Devin White, and all these great defenders. But man, they got picked apart. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaac Pacheco. I mean, how Isaac Pacheco lasted until the 7th round is beyond me. That man looks like a beast. He is going to be really, really good in Kansas City. But yeah, they ran for almost 200 yards, and that's awful. You're not going to win very many football games giving up almost 200 yards rushing, especially if you're giving it up to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are obviously notorious for abandoning the run and just pass. So yeah, just a really discouraging game. But it's the Chiefs. They were super motivated coming in, especially Patrick Mahomes. So you just kind of it's just kind of a tough loss, and you just push that away and you got to just keep moving forward. But how about you, Santiago? Overall thoughts on the Bucs Chiefs game?
Yeah, I'm gonna, it was tough, man. It was so tough. Like the stadium was packed. Sunday night football, prime time. And the excitement and the electricity. You can cut it with a knife. It was unbelievable. But man, Patrick Mahomes is that's the type of quarterback, to be honest with you, that he was drafted by Kansas City. You know what I mean? Like when Tom Brady leaves the Bucs, I want whichever quarterback we select in the draft to be like becomes a superstar, like Pat Mahomes, man. Like it's awesome. He's amazing to watch. Like his slickness, his quickness. I mean, he it kind of reminds me of a Michael Vick that would be like, moving all over the place and creating plays and, causing havoc, to the opposing team. I mean, it was unbelievable. I honestly thought like, wow, 41 points, man. Unbelievable. And they could have scored more. But hey, Tom Brady, kept us in the game a little bit, but yeah, you cannot. When I was talking about right now recently with Green Bay, like it felt like same with Kansas City. Like every time Kansas City had the ball, they're rushing, they're running backs. Even Pat Mahomes like running. They would just move up the field like so quickly. It was unbelievable, and like they had a total of 189 rushing yards. We had only 3. Like that single digit will not win football games. We have to be more effective on the rush in the rushing game. We had more passing yards than them in the game than Kansas City. We had a total of 373 passing yards to their 228. I mean, that's good. We were throwing it. We were winning the air battle, but we have to run it, man. We do, because Tom Brady, he got injured. We cannot have that. We have to be. There has to be an equilibrium. Like, we have to do well running and do well passing. It's just, and again, we had two fumbles in the game. Like, we cannot lose, and I repeat, we cannot lose the football. Come on, gentlemen, please. Like, do something. Maybe it's humid, I don't know, but it gets probably moist, but we have to keep the football. And yes, I know we're going to have a little bit of a break right now, a little bit of a breather. We're playing a division rival coming up this week. I know Musab and Carter were just saying it about Atlanta, but, we have to beat Atlanta, like, beat them. And, so let's go Bucs on that, man. We cannot lose this game.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that we should definitely win this game, but um, well, I mean, yeah, kind of, going back, with this Chiefs game, I just wanted to kind of, go over, over the kind of, I mean, obviously the bad things was just obviously just a slow start, and the way I see it was that was the most costly thing, and I think that was the biggest momentum changer. Just being down by so much, it really does affect you mentally, and I just feel like the approach kind of changed, instead of maybe just kind of better execution. I mean, again, it was sloppy overall, especially in the first half. Just, I mean, starting off with that kickoff, I was already down real quick. I was like, oh my Lord. And then they immediately score. I mean, I can keep going on and on about that, but. What were the kind of, I guess, big things that you were to get out of the game, good and bad things? I let's also talk about Santiago, as you were mentioning, just how horrible our rush was against them, and same thing with our rush D. We were just getting taken advantage of over and over again, and just when I thought that maybe, just maybe, we could kind of come a little closer or something, they were able to convert some of these first downs. The run game was just, there was just too dominant. Overall, they were just toying with us. We were able to fight back here and there. Thanks to people like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, of course. But yeah, that's all I kind of really got out of it. But I want to know, Carter and Santiago, what's like the biggest thing that you got out of this game, being that this was the Chiefs. This is Patty Mahomes we're talking about. Uh, a game like this by them kind of shows the league that I think they are the top contenders, or they're looking like it for sure. Whether I'm a Bucks fan or not, that's the way I feel. But Carter, Santiago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It definitely was a big statement game from the Chiefs. But the biggest thing that you can really take from this game is that at least the Bucks offense showed up a little bit. It was nice to see Brady and Evans back on the field again. Also, a little side note: Evans and Travis Kelce were both on my fantasy teams this week, so shout out to them. They won me both of my games. But yeah, definitely, it was really nice to see that. See them both still have that same chemistry. Godwin looked nice. I'm really excited to see if Julio Jones can get a little bit of a bigger role against his former team this week. But yeah, overall, it was nice to see the offense come back and come out strong in the passing game. But yeah, the biggest takeaway for me was definitely how great the passing offense was, but how horrible they're running the football. They need to run the football better, need to establish the run. So yeah, just more balance, I guess, would be my overall takeaway, because they can't. If you throw the ball 52 times, you're not going to win very many games. That's just not sustainable, especially when Tom Brady's 45. He's going to end up with a rotator cuff injury every week if he throws the ball 52 times. So yeah, it's just more balance. You got to be able to establish the run, especially with Brady. So yeah, that's kind of my big takeaway. How about you, Santiago? How'd you feel? What's your big takeaway from this game?
Yeah, I agree. That we were able to, a positive, Carter just brought it up, that we were able to score more points, 31. that's a lot more than what we scored in the previous games. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a positive right there. Negative is that, I agree with what Carter just said as well. We have to have more of a balance. And yeah, at this moment, it's early, right? But, you know, it, you know, other teams have to be not afraid, of course, but, you have to, it's going to be hard to maintain, to contain or even maintain, Patrick Mahomes. He's, like I said before, he's such a talent. And he, it's, can they, they're probably favorites right now in Las Vegas on winning the Super Bowl, to be honest with you, because they are explosive. They have, Travis Kelsey. It's, a lot of people maybe thought that with Tyreek going to Miami, like, Tyreek is a tremendous player, but, like Kansas City is still, being possibly the best team in the AFC, but other than that, with the Bucs, like, let's put these two games behind us. Let's start fresh right now versus Atlanta, and let's win that game. Let's go.
Yeah, for me, I think my takeaway was just seeing how things are just looking so different for us compared to that Packers game. My only thing is, I guess I just want to see, I guess, more consistency. But guys, we also have to think about things we're dealing with, such as injuries, or even, for example, that 1 week suspension that Mike Evans had, or whatever. Uh, Things happen, or whatever. That's just the NFL for you. But yeah, the more and more I think about it, the more I'm kind of leaning to the defense to really help us, have a good season. Just because we're in for a treat with some of these opponents we got upcoming after this Falcons game, of course. But I mean, any kind of overall final thoughts? I guess maybe we'll kind of just go incorporate the Atlanta Falcons game, of course. I don't know exactly if that makes sense because I think it's going to be a completely different vibe. But I don't know. Let's kind of raise our spirits and our moods, Carter and Santiago, and being the optimistic individual I am. I mean, what are you excited to see?
And I'm really excited to see the Bucs just beat the crap out of the Falcons. It's going to be fun. There have been so many memes about the Falcons recently because Kyle Pitts has been turned into a glorified extra left tackle. I mean, his his production has just been falling off, and it's inexplicable for a tight end that was drafted, the highest drafted tight end in the history of the NFL, and he's just being used as, kind of a Walmart brand Cameron Brate. I know that's harsh, but man, they just don't know how to utilize him clearly. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Bucs just kind of dominating. Marcus Mariota having a lot of trouble because the Bucs defense is swarming them, and Tom Brady just picking apart this Atlanta Falcons defense. I'm really looking, if the Bucs can't run the ball against the Falcons, they probably can't run the ball against anyone because the Falcons front seven, probably one of the less talented groups in football. They've got Grady Jarrett, but other than that, it's kind of a mess. Their secondary is not bad. They got AJ Terrell back there, who's a really, really great young corner. But yeah, if the Bucs can't run the ball against the Falcons, I don't know what to tell you. So I'm really hoping that Leonard Fournette has a big game, Rashad White game. But how about you, Santiago? What are you looking forward to with this?
Yeah, gentlemen, I'm looking forward. I agree with what Carter just said. I'm looking for hopefully a dominant game versus, with the Bucs just scoring let's hope more than 30 points on this Atlanta Falcons defense. So I'm just hoping that we can become a headache for Marcus Mariota, and that in this game that we can do a better job of not fumbling the ball, you know what I mean? And, being productive on offense, defense, and also in special teams. So, I hope to see a dominant game. Let's go Bucks. Because, when I saw the game a couple weeks ago, it was Atlanta versus, the New Orleans Saints. Like we were talking about previously, about a few weeks ago before this whole issue with the Hurricane. Like, how are you going to lose? How are you going to go up in, like 21 to like 3 and then lose the game by 1 point, 27 to 26? It's like that has to mess with your mentality or with your psychological part. When you give up, when you're up and you're in a good moment, you're about to, you feel like you're going to win and you still lose. Like, that's wrong. That's wrong. And we need to take advantage of that, and dominate. We said in the beginning, in the preseason, everything, that we're going to dominate our division. We've already beaten New Orleans this year right now, and we have to beat the Atlanta Falcons this week. There's no excuses. We have to do our part and be the best team in our division. Let's go, Bucs.
Well, so Santiago, it appears you are not as confident as Carter may be, because Carter thinks, we're just going to beat the crap out of them. But Santiago, you seem a little bit more concerned that there's a possibility the Bucs maybe don't ball out as expected, or no? Or you just thinking, yeah, we'll still win, but we're not going to run them over?
No, I believe that, I'm sounding possibly, it's tough, coming with 2 losses, what I mean? And yes, these are 2 amazing teams, Green Bay and Kansas City, they're 2 of the top, right? But I'm just hoping that, we can not make silly mistakes and dominate. That's what I want. I want us to play Bucs football and dominate and take no prisoners. Like, I want us to, explode on them. I really do. I really do, and I know we're gonna win, and we're gonna win big.
Okay, all right. All right. I love the spirit, Santiago. There's that optimism. I knew you had it in you. Well, just a little heads up to y'all, and also, to our listeners and fans. Uh, just some kind of injury reports as of what we know right now. As Carter mentioned, right now with the rotator cuff, Brady didn't participate. We got Cam Brate right now. He hasn't participated. Dealing with a concussion at the moment. And on top of that, some limited participants. We got Russell Gage, we got Godwin, Julio Jones. So hoping for the best. Going to follow up with that as well. But Logan Ryan, right now a little banged out with the foot injury. He didn't participate either. But those are just some things right now kind of going on. And just an FYI, just because you mentioned it, Carter, I just found out as well that Kyle Pitts is dealing with the hamstring issue. So we'll see how that goes on. If he doesn't play, then they're definitely going to be in trouble for sure. But just a heads up, and guys, let's just drop it right now. Score predictions. I'm gonna go out right now. I think we are gonna semi run them over. I think we're gonna run away with it for the first few quarters, and then I don't know, sag off for whatever reason. But I do think we're gonna win 34-10. Carter, what about you, man?
I'm gonna go a little less on the Bucs scoring. I think they're gonna pretty much run away with it too, but 27-10, the Bucs. How about you, Santiago? What are you feeling on the score?
My prediction on the score: we're going to win 31-7.
All right. So, hey, we got some similar scores here. I'm curious to see who will actually be the closest, and you best believe I'm knowing this right now. So, I think this is, I believe, the first week. I think we're all agreeing that it's going to be a win for our Buccaneers. Thank you for joining our side, Carter. Glad to have you join the dark side, I guess. But on the real, though, yeah, it should be a fun game. It should be a kind of a mood booster. Is really just what I'm looking for. Slash, kind of something like the Bears game last year. I remember the Bears game last year. I feel like we were just completely embarrassing Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, and that's what I'm kind of expecting with this. But guys, other than that, though, anything else that you kind of wanted to chime in regards to what's happened this past week / what we have upcoming. Any questions or any certain things that we're actually looking for?
Not particularly. I wanted to throw in a little joke that I saw on Twitter about Kyle Pitts. The reason he's being held out of practice is because they're just doing realistic gameplay. They're just realistic game plan is Kyle Pitts isn't really involved in the offense. So, they're going to hold him off the practice field, just to simulate game situations. But anyways, that's enough hating on the Falcons. How about you, Santiago? You got any final thoughts or any closing remarks or anything?
Closing remarks. Let's get back on the correct, when we wake up, you want to wake up on the correct side, on the good side of the bed, you know what I'm saying? Let's wake up, gentlemen, and let's go. Let's dominate. This is another game that we have to win. Let's go Bucs, baby. Let's make it. Let's not go in on the stadium nervous. Let's go into the stadium confident. It's our house. We're going to win. Let's go Bucs, baby. Come on. We have to raise the spirit up. You know what I mean? Just, a hurricane's not going to, not going to hold us down. We're going to move up. Let's do it. Let's go Bucs, baby. And, I see that, let's bring happiness to everybody in the Tampa Bay area and around us. People in Fort Myers, that are Bucs fans, they want to, they're going through a tough time right now. Let's bring a smile to them. You know what I mean? Florida strong, so, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go.
There's that optimism again with it, Santiago. I think we've seen some really good things everywhere from our Buccaneers these past few weeks. So I think I have a better idea than I did before about what my expectations are and who I'm expecting to really ball out. Guys, I have to say, it was a little tough, with the loss against the Chiefs. But, I got to give a big shout out to Mike Evans. I don't know, just the way I was seeing him, kind of just ball out and get those catches and those touchdowns. I'm really happy to see him back. And I do think that he's going to ball out again this upcoming week. But listeners, can't end this episode without thanking y'all. Seriously, we mean it. And if you've enjoyed, please do spread the word about us. All right, seriously. And however you're listening to this, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, we're on it all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And a friendly reminder, of course, we're on social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So do check us out for sure. And just again, a little shout out for Feeding Florida and American Red Cross. Do show some love out there as well. Whatever you have, it counts. And we really, really do appreciate. And I'm sure everyone else appreciates it as well. Well, folks, we got a 1:00 game coming up. And to be honest, I'm feeling quite optimistic, as I've already said before. And so should you. Seriously, I mean it. I know Carter and Santiago are fired up. It's going to be a home game, division rival. I think this is our kind of get back in the mojo game. I really do think so. Carter, Santiago, what do you all think? Is that what it is? Basically, something to kind of get the spirits up again. Maybe a little bit more of more of a clinic day. Is that what we're thinking? It's going to be more of a clinic day, or we're thinking, hey, no, we still gotta make some noise.
Yeah, it's definitely a bounce back game for the Bucs. I'm looking for them to just kind of get right back on track, get right back on that winning horse, and just do their thing. And that's really all it is. How about you, Santiago? Are you looking for the same thing?
Yeah, I'm looking at this as a getting back on the winning and starting a winning streak. I really do. This is gonna be the game that gets us to. We're not gonna lose after this game. That's what I believe. We're gonna get our stuff together.
That is bold, Santiago. You
we're
heard
not
it there
gonna
first,
lose.
ladies and gentlemen. We are not losing starting this weekend. All right, so grab your popcorn, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy this Sunday, 1 p.m. Buccaneers versus Falcons. All right, well, that's all for now, folks. Thanks again, and as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, Please remember to like and subscribe.